At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm doing everything I can. Now stop calling me Shirley.
The center has to be at least 3 times bigger than this.
All right, it's another edition of Sincerely Unqualified. Today we have a sketch comedy episode. We are talking probably the best sketch comedy that's come out in years. You know, we've been talking SNL on This Week in Comedy a lot. When the whole Elon thing went down, we did it for like 4 weeks straight. But it was our segment.
It just came out.
Came up, and then Chris Farley recently we did. But we're doing I Think You Should Leave Season 1 because Season 2 is coming out July 6th. Be on the lookout for it. Get excited. We are going to give you a breakdown. We're going to talk about the sketches episode by episode. We're going to give you our favorites, and it's going to get you ready going into Season 2. We're all excited.
So I watched the show when it came out, and not to be like I read the book first kind of guy. Yeah. But I watched this a year ago, and I've been preaching it like the Bible for the past year. For everybody who likes comedy in any way, shape, or form to watch this show. And I'm so happy that season 2 is coming out because I've been like quoting this show for the past year, just recommending it nonstop. And I can't wait to talk about it because
you know
there's so much good in it.
It's awesome, and it's odd in a very good way.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's off-putting because I also read the book first. I watched it. But I think that we're not alone. I think so many people watched it when it came out, and so many people have actually been suggesting it. Anyone who watches it, they're like, you have to watch this. It is incredible. We have an incredible season to talk about. Very short, around 15 minutes, probably average an episode, 6 episodes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them all. If you could like, rate, subscribe, do all that good stuff, leave us a review. That would be awesome. We are going to be doing a really fun episode because we've been trying to talk about this for a while. We've been waiting for the anniversary. We're talking Palm Springs next week. So if you could, or if you want to, you can email us at sincerelyunqualified@gmail.com or DM us, comment on any of our posts. Let us know if you have any questions, anything that you think we need to cover, or anything that you want us to talk about. We would love to answer your guys' questions, even if it's not about Palm Springs. We'll start doing that if you guys, have anything you want to ask.
Yeah, and I mean anything and everything. Very open to it.
Yeah,
but
so we finally this episode we know what we're doing next episode.
I can't wait. It's about time we got some sort of schedule set up. Every week it's like I don't know.
Actually, listen to the end, but if you listen to the end, we just go, I'm not sure what we're doing next week.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, but this week we actually have it set, and I honestly couldn't be more excited about this week's though. I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to do anything. Just because I will say, okay, so when we're leading up to these episodes, we do a little background stuff. We research, obviously, because we have to do our due diligence, everything like that. Watching interview clips with Tim Robinson or watching anything on YouTube, you see that there is this community because it's like your mom's house, or it's like something where it's created its own community within itself, because every comment on like a Late Night with Seth Meyers clip is a quote from the show or something to do with the show that you don't get unless you've seen it. And it's
Turbo
just
Team.
Incredible. Yeah. Turbo Team is out in force and I love it.
Oh yeah. So before that, we need to let you know summer's coming. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? You're in luck. Our friends at Manscaped just launched their 4th generation performance package, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Complement your summer bod with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. The sun is shining and calling your name, fellas. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code UNQUALIFIED at checkout. It's in the name. You can look at it there. Copy and paste. You know how to spell. But it is time to bundle up with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. All that awesome stuff. Honestly, I love the Performance bag. That bag that you get, I think that they call it the Shed. I mean, it's perfect. It is a perfect travel bag. We're going to be traveling more this summer. You're going to bring all your Manscaped stuff in that bag. Everything that you can get for 20% off and free shipping with the code unqualified at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code unqualified at manscaped.com. Escape the shrubs and weed this summer and shine with Manscaped. So I think we could move on to our I think you should leave breakdown. We're not going to do like a formal and exclusive section. We're going to talk some stuff about it right off the bat, overview, probably, more or less facts, and then maybe a few about the sketches as we go on. So obviously this was created and starred in by Tim Robinson, and he also had co-writers. He had Zach Kanan and John Solomon. Those are kind of like his right-hand guys. And we have talked about them in previous episodes, but the Lonely Island guys. So Andy Samberg, this is one of the original ones that we did not know how to say. Jorma Takome, I think. Is that his name?
You said it, not me.
Yeah, but who knows? So the Lonely Island guys, this is behind them. They produced it. They helped this get made into what it was, and it was incredible.
So glad it got, because he needed this time to flourish. Like, he needed to get out of SNL. He needed to be on his own and just have the right to do whatever he wanted, because
obviously this was a Netflix show. I think it lends so much better to him. So I think on SNL, a lot of the time it has the NBC filter, basically. Not even that it like for curse words or profane ideas or anything. He's just so quirky, and obviously there's a huge market for it, but the quirky market is not what NBC wants. So,
I think it was too political in the writers' room, even too much too, where it's like, we need these sketches that we know are going to land mainstream. We need these sketches that are going to hit, whether it be political, whether it be this, that. We don't need some guy saying a car is stinky on NBC. We don't.
That's the funny thing too.
That's
is that
the beautiful thing.
Yeah, and with the Lonely Island guys, like about the producers, Andy Samberg, he kind of towed the line with that. Andy Samberg did a lot of goofy stuff, but I think that also because he was doing a lot of the pre-recorded stuff. So you could say, you could test it, basically, show the actually finished clip and say, hey, this is what people like. I think probably throughout the process, maybe it wasn't his thing to do. But in terms of this show, there wasn't really an overarching philosophy. It was just kind of like what makes him laugh. And sometimes it was really just about like if you look at someone at a party just being terribly awful, that's kind of what he was going with. So he said that Zach Kanan himself found themselves writing a lot of scenes like that, where the person is refusing to admit they've done something wrong or lying and just does anything to cover that up. We see that a lot.
I think we saw that probably in every single sketch, if not majority of them. I feel like a lot of people, too, coming into this didn't know about Tim Robinson and didn't know about the style or didn't know about... And then there's these kind of overarching rules of comedy and things like that somebody asked him, like, do you think that the show adheres to it? Maybe some negative review said, like, it doesn't adhere to the rules of comedy. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think that these are true? And he was like, no, I don't think so at all. I don't have much more to say about it. If people are saying that, like, it gets boring. I mean, if you need to stay in these lines, and no one wants to watch that. They want to watch people going out of it. So I think he really, there's no rules, but in a sense, he bent these rules just of craziness to show this works.
I think he was saying like that there are technically, like when you think about NBC, like that, let's call out SNL, I guess. There's a cadence. There's a cadence to pretty much every sketch, to every show, and it fits well into the mainstream. Like, it is nice. It's kind of, we always say, the warm blanket. Like, you kind of know what to expect, especially if the show is in full swing. You know you're gonna laugh, but you know it follows the format. You know, you have a political cold open, you have the monologue, and then you have sketches, and all the sketches kind of work the same. That's why here I think that's why I said Netflix. It lends so much better to him, and it's so much more creative in that way for him.
It's a huge if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But then there's also got to be people who are like, that sucks. Why are we still doing this? Yeah, and there's got to be people who just go outside of it and just rip it. And I'm so happy we got that Turbo team. I mean, just so excited. But they also kind of asked him what it was like at SNL and kind of what it was like being a writer, and you know, how did it feel? So because he was working on SNL for a year, and obviously the goal with SNL is kind of be a writer. Either you're a writer or you're on screen, or you're kind of
talent.
both. So
yeah,
you can go. Talent. So like for Seth Meyers per se, Seth Meyers was on screen, but he was also the head writer. So he was doing Weekend Update, but he's the head writer. So he's like previewing everything. And Tim Robinson said he was disappointed at first because he thinks that if he would have stayed in the cast over time, he would have gotten kind of comfortable and okay with doing it. But he did think that when he became a writer, he felt more comfortable, and it really helped him a lot where he gained a lot more confidence rather than being kind of on screen and being behind the scenes writing, which we see in these sketches, because the writing is so much more like you can't really write these kind of sketches that we see without having that, you know, experience of writing sketches in that form or things like that. You know, you come up with these ideas, but you need the best way to execute them. And I feel like SNL, no matter what you say, is still kind of the pinnacle of what we learn from that cadence.
Yeah. He's a seasoned sketch writer. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Even though it doesn't follow like a good format, like no, you know, that's what makes it great.
Yeah, he said he loved his time as a writer, and his time as a cast member was scary and sad and was not fun.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's daunting as shit. If you go and you're like, hey, you're going to be broadcast to millions of people on SNL this week, like, get ready, boy. And it's like, what do you mean? Yeah. What are you talking about? I'm not ready for this.
I could see him being better in the writer's room in terms of SNL. The one thing that people pointed out overall, and we'll start talking about our show here, but there was like a continuity between a few of the episodes. 3 episodes use the term mud pie, and it's just never talked about again. So this interview that we're referencing, they asked him about it, and he said the fact that it ended up in the same episode was just not on purpose. We wanted to say mud pie a few times, but the fact is that them going back to back just wasn't on purpose, which is hilarious because it's such a weird word.
Yeah, you hear so many terms in the show, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like,
what's your favorite like alternative to I don't know, poop? What would you say?
Poop? Probably mud pie. After hearing it in this show, it's hilarious. Yeah, and then even hearing like when he's talking about the toilets and that, I mean, we'll talk about it, but when he was talking, he's like, your toilet doesn't suck them down. And I was like, I don't think I've heard anybody say that before, but that's hilarious.
There's so many weird phrases like that. But so the mud pie thing we were talking about.
Too thin a slice.
Yeah, we'll start talking about episode 1 with the too thin a slice. Basically the premise of it is that they're at a party. Steven Yeun, by the way, is the person who...
Like Oscar-nominated actor.
Yeah. There are a few people throughout like that. But basically, he's getting gifts, and then Tim Robinson eats the gift receipt to make him prove that he really likes the gift. And then he ends up getting really sick because apparently Steven Yeun had too thin a slice and had too big of a mud pie.
Well, he got him a wreath. Like the guy at the store says he has the same one. It works great. It's just...
I love these sketches that start out at house parties because they're supposed to just be these like really relaxed things. You'll actually probably see that in my rankings that we talk about later, that a few of them are like the house party things because there's just a certain way you have to act, and it goes so different from any other house party sketch that we've seen because they also most of them do follow logic. Oh, like someone's a little quirky. No one's a little quirky that like goes to the point where he gets everyone on his side to say that Steven Yeun has shit on his hand.
Well, it's like everybody is weirded out by him asking for the receipt back. Yeah. Because he's like, oh, I got you a wreath. The guy has the same one. It works great. And then he's like, you like it, right? And Stephen Yeun's like, yeah, I like it. Yeah, of course. Just going along. It's like, you like it so much, give me the receipt back. And just the fact of like, everybody kind of being freaked out. You're like, all right, where is this going to go? Yeah. What are we doing here?
You think that like that's the odd situation. Like,
yeah.
Oh, this is awkward. This guy like really wants him to like the gift. And then it just devolves.
Just completely. And then you realize like, okay, everybody might be as crazy. And I will say that it does hit on a real topic of like, does the person actually like the gift?
100%.
Like, do you actually like this gift? Or you just say, I mean, some of the gifts, like the pug calendar and the wreath, when it's clearly not the holiday season. What are we doing here? But the fact that it devolves into like him eating the receipt and then getting a stomach ache.
Yeah.
And saying like
everyone on his side through that. Like it's a perfect encapsulation of what Tim Robinson does.
And then we get introduced to a very Tim Robinsonism where his delivery, like we talked about a lot of people's deliveries throughout this, but it's just like when they're figuring out who's going to eat the other receipt as a test to see if Jacob had mud pie on it.
Yeah.
And he's about to grab the receipt and he just goes, and Jacob doesn't touch it. That was just unbelievable, where you're just like, holy shit, this is different. This is something we haven't really seen before. And it's hilarious. Just that style, that delivery of just like freaking out in all of his sketches.
Yes. I mean, it makes, that is his comedic value right there for the most part, is like, and in terms of his acting, obviously all of this is his brainchild, but we mentioned the coup drone before where she kind of yells but doesn't really. Like the Tim Robinson yell is so iconic for comedy fans everywhere. And I think that probably like obviously we have the gift receipt sketch and also in the first episode we have the Turbo Time sketch that lawyer, has this ever happened to you? And it starts out again normal like a lawyer commercial, and then it starts going, he starts doing his yell talking about the people who did Turbo Time instead of
getting more and more into the story of like you didn't know you had a termite infestation, and then you call your own termite guys. They go in to use your bathrooms, and they're in there for a while, and they're taking huge mud pies in your bathroom.
Another mud pie there, yeah. They that whole sketch. It's just another great intro. Like this is what you're along the ride for.
Yeah,
like just if you're with us, stay with us. If not, you're not gonna like the rest of it.
The help, you gotta help him out. It wasn't stuck at all. He was just faking it, and then they run out. I love the intro. It's Turbo Time, and then he tries to join it. It's no, you're not a part of Turbo Team. Don't run. You don't run until you're part of this Turbo Team. You walk slowly.
Yeah, in terms of like mechanics of the actual, like I guess if we're talking directing, I think the funniest part is that he's yelling because I'm saying like that it's his voice behind the guy mouthing the words, because he's so like Tim Robinson's, like we were talking about, his delivery is so unique, but
it's the like guy a drunk
is like,
history
it's like
kind
mouthing
of thing.
yeah
exactly. It's very drunk history of like you see the actors mouthing it. Just like, you can't do it. The big guy's jumping on the couch. He's like, no, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
The fart toilet too is unbelievable. Just like can't suck him down.
Tiny hole.
Call me right now, please.
That would be a great bit to do on people, by the way, is like pretend to be a plumber and then come in with a new toilet and then just replace someone's toilet. That sounds like that. We called him out once, that Ross Creations guy. That's
beans in my computer.
Beans in my computer guy. That sounds like a great thing for him to do.
He would so do that. Like, I don't know why my toilet's not flushing. Like, nothing's going down.
It's kind of weird, right?
Dude, your hole is like 2 centimeters. Yeah, it's a normal toilet, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much in that sketch that's so fantastic that they just keep figuring out basically throughout it.
All right, so which one after? So those are the top 2 from episode 1. Do you want to touch on Baby of the Year? Because Baby of the Year is in my top 10 too.
Baby of the Year,
and I loved it.
Yeah, let's touch on it. I think we could touch on 3 for the first, because that's the important episode. Yeah. Baby of the Year,
Sam Richardson from Veep also.
Sam Richardson is awesome
great in whatever he does. I think he's a very slept on comedic actor, Like, I got introduced to him through watching Veep, and I was like, this guy's awesome. And then when I saw him in this show, I was like, yes.
Oh, that's right.
I know
Yeah.
they did they did the Detroiters together too
Right.
before this.
Yeah.
Him and Tim Robinson, which I haven't seen, which
No,
I'd
me
be
neither.
interested
Yeah.
to watch. But I mean, what do you think about Harvey Jarvis?
I was gonna say that we have to touch on, because that is the funniest part of this sketch. I mean, I think that's supposed to be the only funny part of this sketch is Harley
it's not.
Jarvis. I mean, no, I know. I'm like the whole idea of the baby contest, but having a badass baby that all the parents, like all the old people, are all like, "Fuck you, Harley Jarvis."
Get her out of here! Like, just, for what reason?
The attempted assassination. That's why. I mean, it's also in my top 10. It is at 10. A little spoiler alert there, but not my favorite. But I mean, a top 10 in terms of the entire show. I do like the sketch. It's just that I think Harley Jarvis is hilarious.
I love that they bring in the little nuance of bringing in the baby's doctors. They're like, I'm gonna need more information. Like, what does that mean? And it's like, we have a BMI weight of 99 and a height of 10, and he just goes, we got a certified chode on our hands. And I love it. My favorite part of this sketch, though, aside from the Harvey Jarvis, because honestly, that wasn't really my favorite part. My favorite part in general was when they're doing the in memoriam of the babies.
Oh,
and
yeah,
somebody goes, I can't do this. One of the judges, he goes, calm down. They're the old ones. They don't stay babies forever, you idiot.
Then they start listing the cause of death, too.
I mean, altogether, I think definitely within the 5 to 10 range, I'd say. Because, I mean, there's some other sketches that are above and beyond hilarious.
Yeah. But honestly, think about those 3 sketches alone. Such a strong episode. Such a strong first episode.
Oh, yeah.
An intro into what we're seeing. 2, for me, episode 2, I think we hit a lull, personally.
I don't think we hit a lull so much as it was like, okay, so what I think of this show is, I think of it more of in the sense of a movie versus individual episodes. So when you're watching, it's 15 minutes. You're gonna watch like 1, 2, 3, probably at least 2.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching, you're gonna watch at least 2. So you have this one, let's say, half hour, 45-minute episode. There's gonna be some hits. There's gonna be some maybe lesser.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say lull like in a bad way at all.
But
I was thinking about that too. Like, it's just, it doesn't need to be what episode 1 was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because not every episode can be what episode 1 is. I think in terms of like going from episode 1 to 2, like you need to start off hot, definitely with 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I think like being sandwiched between 1 and, I will say, episode 3 is my favorite by far.
Well,
like I
it's
will
not
say,
mine, but it is fantastic.
yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. But there are some hilarious ass sketches in this one, and we can't put it to the side because that's a nice motorcycle. I know you said you didn't like, but for me,
this is something we should definitely point out in terms of like when we're saying a lull. For all we know, like it's especially we say. With movies, it is less so. Yeah. But some comedy just isn't for certain people. And this does it fits one niche for the most part. But there are certain sketches, especially with sketch comedy, people could love that we don't like. So, yeah, the motorcycle thing, like I told you, look, I understand it is very funny, but it's not for me personally. Like,
exactly. It's a 1.5
really dumb humor, but
little...
like it's maybe not so much that.
I don't know. For me, that just hit. It was so dumb. It was just dumb enough where I'm like, that's hilarious. Yeah, they got motorcycles. Like
the car. I said the guy liking motorcycles so much that he was into a car at that point because it was like 2 motorcycles with a house in between it is hilarious. Like that's funny. Just maybe not so much for me.
I will say though, episode 2. We're not putting it down because, for me at least, 2 of my top 10 are in here. So it's like, I'm not going to say where they are, but TC Tops, TC Tuggers, and Revenge Baby Crying Flight are in this episode too.
TC Tuggers is fantastic. I love that. Actually, you know what? 2 of the most memorable I think, are TC
Yeah.
Tuggers and the Will Forte revenge. I just like Will Forte a lot. Like, I love the movie MacGruber and obviously his SNL stuff, but the Will Forte revenge thing is so good. Did you want to talk TC Tuggers, though? Because I mean,
think
that's
we
such a
need to
classic
talk
line.
TC Tuggers a little bit.
TC Tuggers by TC Tops.
Yeah, just a little Riverdale. Like, at first you were like, okay, where's this going? Is it going to be like a drama, comedy kind of thing? Where are they going with the sketch? Because you found out, like, it was sponsored by TC Tuggers at first. And you're like, okay.
It reminded me, like, I thought that we were going to do a Kroll show kind of thing where they do that high school thing. Because, I mean, a high school sketch comedy, it is pretty kind of easy to do. So I thought it was going to be, like, some satire, and then it just turned into this weird commercial.
Just this intense brand integration.
Yeah.
Like, just becomes an integral part of the plot for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just, does it come in different styles? Nah, this is it. Like...
I love that idea too, that they're just like trying to advertise something that really doesn't have that many styles.
It doesn't
it's
have
just this weird novelty that
real,
you can pull shirts. It's
any real use.
That's taking that like one bit of reality and just blowing it up into something very, very odd and awesome.
It's the only shirt that's got a little knob on the front so you can pull it when it gets trapped on your belly.
Yeah, they have all those Instagram ads now for guys like, oh, it's for guys with dad bods and it looks great. Why do I not have TC Tuggers ads, huh? Why do I not have TC Tuggers
would you
ads?
buy a TC Tuggers just to wear occasionally?
You know what? I would like to say yes, but I think that I'm a little too self-conscious that I would be walking outside into public with a... Like, I'll wear, like, really crappy clothes out, but having a knob on my stomach might be a little weird.
That's a little bit much.
Just to see if someone's like, yo, is that a TC Tuggers? Actually, maybe that's worth it.
Look,
if I get one person.
Yeah, that's all you need. Because
Yeah.
I saw a tweet, and it was the I Think You Should Leave account, which... they retweeted somebody who had an I Think You Should Leave themed party, and somebody made their own TC Tugger shirt.
There you go.
And it was really
If you're
good.
going to one, I think you should leave party for sure. You wear the TC
Oh,
Tugger.
yeah.
And then, the other one that we were mentioning, the Will Forte baby crying. I don't know how much there is to say other than it takes that, because honestly, especially with COVID happening, we weren't flying much last year. Now we're back on planes. And honestly, sometimes I just forget the reality of sometimes babies crying on planes if you're trying to sleep.
Oh.
It is the worst. So thinking about him like planning his whole life to try to start crying in front of her, crying next to him like a baby.
I was on a flight like a couple months back, and there was a baby on it, and I tell you, like, I really forgot how bad it was.
Oh, you do
even
until it
with
happens.
the
You're just like,
headphones.
oh no.
Yeah. And we had a 4-hour delay that day too. So it was like we were trapped on the plane with that baby for an extra 4 hours, and it was like
That
a torture
sucks
chamber. It was a
that baby.
personal
And
torture chamber.
Definitely that's what's funny too, is like it sucks not funny. That the parents hate it too,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, they
But,
know. They know.
They would feel bad too. But yeah, 4 hours. It's just not a good situation for anyone. But we take this reality and we blow it up into Will Forte being an old guy crying like a baby and then getting moved because
I contemplated turning into Will Forte that day. I was like, we need to find this baby.
Find the fence person.
And 23 years
trash,
later,
right?
I'll just find them on their honeymoon.
Yeah, exactly. That episode 3, I think, halfway through, we
The
have
GOAT episode.
2 tied for ones from Winnie. Again, we'll do the ranking, but
It's the best episode in the show.
Why don't you kick us off here then?
All right.
Whichever one you want to talk about first.
I won't touch. So I won't touch on the magician steals masculinity too much, because even though Cecily Strong is great
it was fun
in
seeing
that
Cecily
one,
Strong.
it was fun, but it almost was just like, holy shit, like, you ruined my life. It's just,
it was funny. It was one of those ones that like it was one of those ones I wasn't audibly cracking up at, but I was like, this is funny the whole time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, it was on the longer side, and I was like, oh, this is very funny, but I wasn't like cracking up at.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the next sketch is one of my favorite. I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. It's the focus group.
Yes.
And it is probably the funniest thing that I have seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Where you just don't expect. So Ruben Rabasa He just auditioned for the role. Like, they didn't know him before. They didn't know anything about him. He just randomly auditioned for the role and got it. And now he's role. Dude, he's on TikTok, and our account, I followed him. I took the liberty of following
let's get
him
Ruben
from
on the show.
us. Come
on the program, Ruben.
Look,
please.
if you look on all of his TikToks, my comments, and it's not Kev, it's me commenting like, "Are you in season 2? Are you in season 2?
Did he answer?
Ruben, are you in season 2? No, he ignores me every time.
Does he comment back to other people?
He likes other people's comments, but not mine.
He doesn't like ours?
Because I ask him all the time. I need to comment something different. I need to comment something different.
Oh, you know what? Maybe when we're going to speak it into existence right now, folks.
Yeah, manifest.
Season 2 is going to come out. We're going to see Ruben. Ruben's finally going to answer us. Ruben's going to come on the pod the next week. I mean, I'll probably be at my wedding or at a honeymoon or something. But
he's coming. He's coming to the wedding. No.
Yeah,
he's coming
I'll send
to
him
the
an
wedding.
Invite. We're getting Ruben on board. But
can we send him an invite over TikTok? I will do it.
Yeah, I mean,
swear.
if he wants to come,
he'll
he'll come through for sure. Yeah.
A stinky wedding, but
yeah, that's what we'll throw all the lines there. A stinky, all his stuff.
You have to marry your mother-in-law. Just
and it's so dated. When the plastic bottle flipping was a big thing. There's them saying he flinched. It also shows another way of Tim Robinson doing his very specific, unique thing, like yelling when he piles on after.
Oh my God,
our boy Ruben Rabasa. It's so fun. He's like, yeah, no, that's the rules. That's the rules. You have to marry your mother-in-law.
You have to do it. You flinch. You have to do it. Like, who's the most popular now, Paul? Just so good. I think every single line that Ruben says in that sketch is quotable, and he is the perfect person. I don't think you could have found a better person. Like, a steering wheel flies off when you. What does that mean? You couldn't have got anybody else to say these things and have them somewhat make sense. Like, I feel like he has them make sense in a way that you just don't understand. But when he says them, you're almost like, he has so much confidence that you're on on board.
The false confidence is just unreal.
I stand by it.
That's just honestly, that's swag is what it is. Ruben Rabasa is just swagged out.
I don't know if the next one made Kevin's list. But for me,
it missed it for me because of the rewatch. I
really?
thought of this as a really good one. So we're talking laser spine specialist. We're talking like it's supposed to be a normal commercial, and actually it is a normal commercial throughout, and then just some crazy stuff with Tim Robinson in it. I remember it differently. I remember him and like it carrying out this whole narrative of him, his wife's boyfriend. I thought that he like ended up beating him up. He does go up to his son in the end or whatever. But I think maybe I was just a little disappointed on the rewatch because I remembered it so well. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I think the best part of this, it starts off with like, you think it's going to be just this compilation of him going like, oh, I can lift my son again. And he's like, I can lift my son again too. And he ain't going to do shit about it. He's been rude to me his whole life. And then you go and it just becomes this thing of how he got scammed for $10,000 by one of the best people in the show, I think. And that's, what's his name?
They were talking about the recording booth. He's telling him he's going to be a star.
It's Connor O'Malley. Connor O'Malley is the best, I think, like cameo in this show, and it's solely because of their back and forth. Like they have the same energy in this,
and then another guy comes in too.
Where he's like, I'm going to get my money back from Robbie Starr at Superstar Tracks Records. And he's just yelling at him like, you told me I could sing. I gave you $10,000 to make me a star. And
what is it, Moon River?
He's just like, he goes, your family hates you. Only I love you. Just singing Moon River Rock, Moon River Roll is so funny. And that other guy comes in and he goes like, beach girls love because beach girls are just... I think I don't know. I think for me on the rewatch, it got even better. It was like a fine wine for that
was
one.
a very funny part of the sketch, I will say. I'm going to drop the ball. We'll go through our top 10s, and I'll see if I can rationalize it there. But an absolute all-time sketch. I cannot argue with that. We do have 2 more to talk about, though. We'll probably talk about
in this episode.
In this episode, it's a monster episode. We have New Joe with Fred Willard. Fred Willard's at this Catholic funeral, and he's a replacement organist that is just playing really kooky songs and throwing plates up in the air. That's another one. It's so dumb, and normally I like the dumbest comedy that you could have, but like for whatever reason on the rewatch, just didn't do it for me as much.
The fact that he was just saying my condolences after every time. Just throwing plates.
Could you imagine what would be another really good a sub in? Could you imagine someone sitting there with one of those EDM boards, like the black boxes with 6 buttons, and they're just kind of playing some lo-fi music?
Yeah.
As someone walks up to the stage to talk about their dead father.
I just love that he brought a bigger organ with him.
Yeah, he brought his own organ.
Stack of plates that he just tosses.
He's like, this is a sad one, so don't be upset if you cry or something like that.
The only person, I don't know that anybody else other than Fred Willard could have done that. The one person that I think maybe in any way, shape, or form could have done it somewhat differently, but also with that kind of just out there sensibility is David Cross. I think he could have done it pretty well.
That's a good point. David Cross would have been good. But no, Fred Willard was great. I mean, shout out Anchorman. What a movie, what an actor.
Oh, yeah.
That was good. But we do have another, it probably and I don't know how their ages work out, but I probably would assume that Tim Robinson slightly grew up with Mr. Show, would you say?
Probably around that, yeah.
Or he's
Tim Robinson's 37, so he's probably around the time. I don't know. He was probably coming maybe in college when it was on.
Yeah. So not grew up with. I definitely misspoke there. Definitely misspoke. Not as a kid, but I'm sure he looked up to him. Tim Heidecker.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tim Heidecker with Mr. Show has that weird sensibility. He was the first, maybe not the first one, but he was very popular in making really, really strange comedy.
Did you watch the Tim and Eric show too?
I personally, I haven't watched the whole thing. I've seen stuff from them. I know of it well enough that I know that it's similar sensibilities,
Yeah, it's incredible. It's just that kind of just deadpan weird humor.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't make sense. And then they have John C. Reilly on it a ton.
Yeah.
Has Dr. Stephen
obviously,
Brule.
I've seen Dr. Stephen Brule, all that kind of stuff. The really weird comedy, getting out to the masses. Tim Heidecker was huge with that. By the way, Tim Heidecker from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Shout out. Tim, come on the pod.
Come to the wedding. Tim, come to the wedding.
Yeah, Tim. Well, Tim and Amanda Seyfried.
So we got Ruben and we got Tim Heidecker.
We'll throw Amanda Seyfried on the list.
Wait, what about Amanda Seyfried? She's from Allentown?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hometown, folks.
Wow.
But yeah, his jazz, he's a big jazz fan. They're playing this game where they're supposed to put in celebrities to guess
some of the best lines in the entire show, right?
Yeah, drop them on us quick.
So they just ask him these are supposed to be household names when they're playing this kind of guessing celebrities game. Yeah. And he goes household names like Roy Donk or Jack Marshall. And then they get to the next one, and then they
he's
ask
the one giving clues.
Who is that? Yeah, he's Jazz Ratatat Tongue Lingo is the next person, and they go, "Who is that?" And he just goes, he's no Roy Donk, but he was a regular guest in the Colgate Hour. What do you mean?
That's one of those ones. It's another one of we have it pretty deep in our top 10s, but it is so
the king
funny.
Of the tuck tuck sound.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think is funny enough it deserves the top 10 spot. Maybe not as much laugh out loud killed over moments, but very funny writing throughout. Very funny with Tim Heidecker just being this weird jazz guy that I guess you hate.
You're supposed to. He just goes in on everybody there. He goes he brings. Oh, sweetie, why don't you eat your California walnuts? And he goes, "Where be your nutcracker?" And she's like, "Oh, it's upstairs probably with the Christmas stuff." He goes, "Oh, that won't take you too long."
Oh,
just the worst.
I made me want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, and then he goes, I've actually changed my mind. I saw you had some nice gazpacho soup in your fridge. May I have some gazpacho soup?
Also saying the soup at the end of gazpacho,
Yeah,
you know he's just off kilter. You know, I
And
don't
burns himself on gazpacho.
Yeah. When you're expecting something ice cold and it comes out room temp. Tim Heidecker in that it deserves a top 10 for that. Very funny writing.
I do love too seeing where the episode names come from within the episode itself. So it's like, you said it's the cigar smoke, or you said it's the cigars you smoke that's gonna give you cancer.
Having
It's
a
the
fight in
T-bone
front of
steaks you eat that's gonna give you cancer. And he's berating this girl the whole time. He's like, remember, we listened to the whole album. It was the night I told you you'll never make it as a writer because you don't have a curious mind. Like,
Dang, maybe I should have put this higher. Actually, I have this higher than you, I think.
you do, and I think honestly I should put it higher now too. But we stick to the rankings.
Stick to the rankings. We'll move on to episode 4. Episode 4 had some good ones. I guess I actually think I had it wrong with I thought TC Tuggers was in episode 4 actually.
No,
but
it's 2.
if it is not, we'll talk. I mean, we can talk.
This one had some quality ones.
Honk If You're Horny was probably the best one
Yes.
from this, I think. Yeah.
And number 2 in this one was, I think, Nacho's Meat Taker.
Yeah. Like the idea of being on a first date and like telling a guy, hey, can you tell them that you have a rule? And her realizing that's a very, very funny premise.
And then after she finds out him going, she's like, we'll just take the check. And he goes, oh, we're going to be super early to that movie. Like, she's still going to the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those really funny ones.
He just kept going, what?
That's another Tim Robinson delivery
Yeah.
we did not mention yet. The question's like, what are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about?
That was so funny. Just bringing in the waiter just to be a third party to that awkwardness. Oh, I could not imagine being a waiter in a situation like that. If someone was like, just trying to get, one, I would just say like, dude, I'm not gonna do that.
Like you couldn't tip me enough to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Man,
unless
like,
maybe if you slid me at 20, I would. But
or
maybe
just
my
be
price
more,
isn't that high. By the way, now that I just said 20 out loud, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
or just be more aggressive with your nacho eating. You know, like just
I could
eat
see
the
not wanting to
good
step on the
nachos.
toes. I mean, granted, I'm not a big first date guy. Haven't been on one in
Neither am I.
a few years. Maybe we don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea how it works. I guess you let her get all the meat in the nachos?
Yeah, who knows? But that's another one. Just, start at reality, start at something that's so minuscule. It's almost like, what Curb does with what Larry David does with Curb. Like, just take an everyday situation that, is awkward and blow it up. I think Larry David blows it up into, and granted, there are different formats, there are different lengths and everything. I think what Tim Robinson does is just takes that little nugget and then just goes a completely different direction from it. But then we actually do have a little fact about Honk If You're Horny, like that. But both Honk If You're Horny and the gift receipt. So they actually were not supposed to be as long as they were. So Honk If You're Horny, it had this like pretty long part of episode 4. And basically what they did was that they wrote it short and then they realized that it was kind of lacking and they wanted to do something else with it. So Akiva, his writing partner, helped them really build out the characters, and then they knew where they wanted to take it with it. So, for instance, like maybe it was supposed to end before they got to the funeral, and they had this crazy resolve of, by the way, having the magazines in the car when he's like, do you offer a service? When the magazine, when he opened the trunk and the magazines were there, I died. I thought that was so funny.
He's like, it's... Wait, you've been so horny that their stomach hurts? Like, oh. Then he just gives them the magazines. Like, the fact that he had all those, he goes, hurry up. I've seen some of these before. Just those two work so well. And I don't know if you were on Twitter at this point or anything, but there was a time where Connor O'Malley was doing this thing on Twitter, this series on Twitter, where he would have, like, himself on the street, like the side of the street, and pretend to be like this crazy homeless person and just cover himself in different things and just be running around and being like, just yell the name of these different political figures and just like say the craziest stuff while acting like a homeless person. And that's where I learned about his delivery.
Sounds
and
like
his
just a homeless
voice.
person.
No, but I learned about his voice through there. So when I
Yeah.
first heard him in like the Moon River Rock sketch, I was like, no way. Because there was a time where I thought him on Twitter was just a genuine crazy person. Like I thought he was just genuinely this psychotic person.
I missed
and then
that.
seeing him be an actor was just, oh shit, okay,
I
he's,
guess that's what's happening.
yeah, no, it came full circle. It was just I didn't realize this was a bit. That
You didn't think it was
doing.
like the what was it, L.A. Clipper situation or something? People found this
Yeah.
homeless guy who had the voice of gold and then became an announcer for the Clippers
Yeah,
or an NBA team. You're like, oh, they gave that guy a job, and I think you should leave. That's nice.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something about that, but I think this episode, Honk If You're Horny, was definitely number one.
Yeah.
Just because of him. I think he made the sketch really fun. Just seeing him in the car, like, overnight honking.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m.
Just his stomach hurt. He was so horny. I think that. Do you want to move on to episode 5?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I think 3 was the most solid. I think that it had the most great sketches, but 5 had 2 of my favorites. So 5, I think we both loved the hot dog suit. So he crashes into, I think it's a Brooks Brothers or something, in a hot dog car, and then you just see the people that, like, the workers or the people that were just looking for clothes, and they're like, who did this? And everyone's trying to figure it out, and then it pans over to Tim Robinson in a hot dude costume, and he's like pretending like he's trying to figure it out as well. That reveal cracked me, because he also looks so funny in it.
I know. I mean, just the fact that he's in the costume, the hot dog costume, just like, we gotta find out who did this. Like,
and then he starts unearthing that he wants to be spanked, and then he's like, he's trying to do this whole like,
someone's gotta do it, and some guy's like, okay. And the lady's like, nobody's getting spanked
spanking him. I think it's just so great that he ends up doing like the whole. He's trying to make it virtuous. He's like, everyone's on their phones. He's talking about that.
Yeah.
And then
they're like, what's your name? He's
Yeah.
like, you don't even know my name.
Yeah, exactly. In the interview that we've been referencing, they talked about this one specifically, and he asked if it was his intention to crash the car and steal the suits, or did he accidentally just crash the car and then take the suits, like seize the opportunity? And Tim Robinson said he just seized the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I would. He was just giving that speech. He was like, "We're all so locked to our phones, just grabbing everything he can." So, and the cops just walk up or the security. They're like, "This is this guy, right?" They're like, "Yeah." He goes, "You'll never catch me."
Yeah, and he thought he won him over, but he did not. I mean, just an absolute hilarious sketch. Another
and
one.
The other guy dressed up as the hot dog too. That's the lad. Like,
Oh,
just the fact
suit.
that they
He's
had
wearing
the
a
other
suit.
guy in the suit.
That was really good.
Caleb went.
Other big one in this episode was the babysitter hit and run, where you and it's like what we said off the jump. You get caught in a lie, and you do anything you can to make up for it. So he gets caught in this lie, and then is just completely embarrassed. So he says that he needs to embarrass the other person who was asking about it for the rest of the party, and just starts all this stuff to the point where he like runs and tackles him into the person's china cabinet.
He's by the china cabinet, just goes off and pushes him in there.
His husband also has no idea that he's been doing this whole time. He just walks up and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "You shouldn't have told me to lie." Now I gotta do it. So it just like launches him into a china cabinet.
About the hit and run, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna embarrass you at this party, Barry.
Yeah.
Like, there was that sketch, and for me, I think that the Bones Are Their Money sketch got me. With Billy Walsh from Entourage, Rise Coro.
Yeah.
Coro.
Sure.
But I mean, starting off as that like story country song, which was a pretty good song, I gotta say.
The Johnny Cash like parody that they were doing throughout when he does, I guess before Tim Robinson jumps in with when he's doing the actual Johnny thing, the Bones Are Their Money.
That was the night that the skeletons came to live.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny taking it the spooky route because and that's the other thing that I think makes this sketch great is that the song is actually really good. Like, you're kind of into it. You're like, oh, this guy has like a little dark side. He's doing the Johnny thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a walk the line type deal. And then we have Tim Robinson jumping in, taking spooky in a different way.
He said wanted something spooky. No, he didn't. And then the best line in the whole thing was when afterwards he's like, I think we're gonna go more with Billy's song, the producer, and they're like, he's like, Billy as in me or Billy as in him? And he goes, your name's Billy too? He goes, no, that's why I'm so fucking confused. Just so good.
So good. We can probably, I don't think that we need to talk about any other ones on episode 5. Episode 6, I think that we have one of my favorites. It's how the show ends. It's how the season ends. And this woman's just talking about her party house the whole time. She's like, it's a big party house. They're going to have an intervention. And it's all this Garfield stuff. And then the funniest part throughout it is that we learned that it's not actually the creator of Garfield's house. It's the guy who tried to kill the creator of Garfield's house. And
the same guy from the beginning who was like, I want my treasure chest, old man.
And he ends up in the room at the end.
What does he start singing something at the end?
No, I think he just laughs in a really weird way.
Oh, yeah.
He laughs, and that's like how the show closes out. But before that, we had some good ones. Like a really memorable one, I think that would probably be on some people's top 10s is Chunky.
Oh, yeah. That was an honorable mention for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like the fact that Chunky, he's like, you had all summer to figure out what he does.
Yeah. And the fact that they have Andy Samberg in there, too.
Yeah.
Chunky to mess with Andy Samberg is hilarious.
And Andy Samberg gets a Chunky every time. I love when the girl guesses. She was like, 3 down, 1 from the right. And he goes, that's a Chunky. And Andy Samberg says that. And he's like, how do you know? You didn't even pull it. He's like, I made the game. I know what it is.
He's yelling at Chunky. He's yelling at Andy Samberg.
You're not supposed to talk.
Yes,
the mouth doesn't move.
It looks ridiculous.
I love it. At the end, he just goes, yeah, that's fine. Just burn it.
This is something that I think also, even though some sketches are longer, like we were talking about with the Honk If You're Horny, I think a lot of the time it's probably really hard to close out a sketch, even if it's great. The last line has to be funny, and I constantly find myself a little let down with SNL lines. I'm like, they really had to end it on that. That never happened throughout this show. This show always has a very funny ending to it, and like just not a corny last line, I guess. And I'm sure that's so tough in sketch comedy because you need to like resolve it somehow. And I think we've become accustomed to just accepting it. Like I never look at an SNL sketch. I'm like, it has a bad last line. It's like it's the normalcy.
It's just like the But then even in the Steven Yeun sketch where he dies at the end, he's just dead in the car. That was even just, oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's like it's a good resolve there.
And because it's Tim Robinson, not even like looking, he's just sitting there like he's in a state of shock. He's just
he's obviously not dead. He's not even like trying to be dead.
No, he's just sitting there like a possum.
Yeah. I don't even think we need to really mention them, but the other 3 that we have down for episode 6 really were good. The
baby shower
with the Stanzo brand fedora. Like he's trying
They're nice. They're nice.
He's trying to unload his inventory from his failed mob movie on her friends. That's super funny. The Fenton Stables and Horse Ranch, I think is hilarious. The human-sized penises. And then the Bozo
Office
dubbed over. The Office viral video, I think.
It says it got uploaded at 6 a.m. and has one view. It's just a viral video. I don't know. Is Bozo talking?
And then he's even confused about what it would actually be. He's like, no, it's Bozo saying it.
Saying what he wants to say.
So I don't think that's how I think it makes more sense if it's someone else talking for Bozo.
Did you wake up and make this? No.
Dude, we want to go. I mean, so we talked about all of our top 10. I don't think we probably need to touch too much on them. Do we want to run down the top 10s? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wow,
you want to go first?
You kick us off.
All right, rock, paper, scissors. See who goes first.
I'll go
rock,
first.
paper, scissors says I was not going to play either way. I just wanted you to go first.
Go.
There you go.
There we go.
It's a chunky.
So, yeah, my first one actually is going to be the hot dog suit one. When he crashes into the store, and just because I think it's so funny, he thinks he gets people on his side. He does this like intense dramatic speech, and then all this then he ends up getting when he's grabbing the suits just casually, and then the cops are like, "All right, let's get him." I think it's
just
awesome.
grab him.
I said a lot just right about the babysitter hit and run that house party thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Yoon, the mud pie gift receipt sketch at 3. Focus group, our man Ruben Rabasa at 4. Come to my wedding, sir. I love you. Party house, the Garfield thing. The guy who wanted to kill the creator of Garfield, 5. Has this ever happened to you? Turbo Time at 6. I should have put that higher, but the rankings are the rankings.
The rankings are the rankings of the rankings.
TC Tuggers, River Mountain High at 7. Will Forte crying on the plane at 8. Jazz fan Tim Heidecker at the game night at 9. And then Baby of the Year, Harley Jarvis at 10.
Okay, I'll go through it. So mine is a tie for 1 at the Laser Spine Specialist with Connor O'Malley and the Focus Group with our guy Ruben. Number 2 is going to be Has This Ever Happened to You? Turbo Time.
Yeah. Probably should be up there.
So good. My number 3 is going to be the Walk the Line parody with The Bones Are Their Money. Number 4 is going to be Baby of the Year with Sam Richardson. Number 5 is Gift Receipt Mud Pie with Stephen Yoon.
Yeah.
Number 6, I think we overlapped. No, we didn't overlap here, actually. That's
Hot dog was
Hot dog suit. Number 6, the new Joe, the new replacement organ player.
Yeah, new Joe I didn't have on.
Number 7.
8 is where we actually had a perfect match.
That was an overlap, was Will Forte at number 8. Number 9 is TC Tuggers.
Yeah, I had TC Tuggers higher.
And number 10 is the Jazz Fan Game Night with Tim Heidecker.
Yeah, we were right around there too. I think I might have had him at 9 instead of 10.
Yeah,
but
honorable mention though. I don't think we mentioned. This is the only one we didn't talk about. Was the one honorable mention was the choking with Caleb Went, where he's just pretending that he's not dying to be cool.
It is super funny.
Just dude, you can't eat that.
It's so good.
Just to smell stuff, and he's just like, it's like, dude, you're just dying. It doesn't smell bad.
He walks out. He's like, what's that ambulance?
What's that going on out there? Hey, what's that going on out
I'm
there?
gonna check it out.
What the hell is that going on out there? What the hell is that going on out there?
That's the perfect because it's his delivery that we've been talking about, the yelling, but he's choking instead. He's like, what the hell is that going on out there?
Not out there. Just keeps repeating it.
So good.
Poppers.
No, I mean, absolutely fantastic season. We're so excited for season 2.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I think something we want to point out, we'll call it This Week in Comedy, but it has not been this week. It's been through the last few months. Shane Gillis, Gilly and Keeves, there has been sketches that he's been releasing through YouTube, on Instagram. So it's not like, there's no barrier to entry. Even Netflix, I think everyone has Netflix. You have, I think you should leave. Just on YouTube and Instagram, you could see some of the best sketch comedy that has been made in the last, especially this last year or two, after I think you should leave. It is so good. Some of the best ones are like it's basically the situation of segregated schools accepting black players, like Remember the Titans. But he's this coach, and at first he's saying like, "Oh, I'll never allow a black player," and then they have this black player, and they start winning a bunch of games. It's like this montage scene of them just winning a bunch. He's getting so hype. That's a fantastic one. Their season finale was incredible. It was about a dad being on OnlyFans for his family, and they walk in on him as he's like, they just keep there are just money sounds in the background, and it's like, I think that it's a sex toy that's like vibrating or something. So they're like having this earnest conversation. He's like, I got to do this for you, and it's like, and he's like, oh. He just keeps like he's like talking. A buddy sound pops up and, like in the middle of a sentence. He's like, "Oh," it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, obviously Shane Gill is probably a little bit of a controversial character. He was supposed to be on SNL. I think he was probably on SNL for one day, and then they unearthed something that he said, and then canceled him basically. But guess what? He's still around on YouTube and Instagram. I would say yes, I understand. Maybe maybe you're just not willing to accept the fact that he's putting out great comedy, but the fact of the matter is he is. So
just watch it, see what you think.
Exactly. Gather the information for yourself. We just want to make you aware that it's out there.
Exactly.
And then, honestly, do you want to touch a huge thing in the comedy world is that Conan. He's off a regular late night format, and I honestly
doppelganger.
think the first domino to fall, though, Conan going out of late night. Even he realizes he's been in the game for 19 years, and he's like, this is a dying format. He's moving to HBO Max with something else, but I think he's going to focus on podcasting for the most part.
He's doing the podcasting. And I heard Tom Segura and Whitney Cummings talking about it on Whitney Cummings' podcast.
Yeah.
And they were basically like, even Conan, he's going full-time podcast. Like, he realizes this medium is so much deeper. And if you're trying to promote something, like, it's so much better to hear somebody talk about real shit for 2 hours versus hearing them being that inorganic, quick, like, and they're even saying, if you're the second guest on a talk show host, no one cares. Like, if you're the second guest and you're behind Scarlett Johansson, like, nobody really is going to watch for that.
That is the interesting thing. I love his podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. But it's funny. You could even see, like, the structure that, I guess, let's say a corporate thing has. When you think of like Your Mom's House or Good for You with Whitney Cummings, there's not much structure. It's less
freeform
produced. Conversation. Conan is more like just a good interview. It's a really good long interview. They have some stuff going on. It's very produced. But that's what's going to happen. When you've been in late night for 19 years and you make a podcast, it's not going to be Your Mom's House. That's okay, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's room for other podcasts. It's going to be interesting, though, because I really think, like, Seth Meyers needs to make a move. Like, something needs to happen because I don't think anyone really cares about his late night show. I'm sorry to Seth Meyers. Maybe a lot of people do. I'm not a late night TV person.
Well, I
like
think that
Conan,
the big late night players right now are
James
really
Corden.
Fallon, Kimmel.
Yeah.
And if you're not one of those three, now with Conan retiring...
But does, like, anyone really still watch it?
There are, but I mean...
Like, but the thing is, they're just trying to get clips on the internet.
I was in TV, and the ratings are down year over year, every year, but they're still, like, substantial.
Well, so that's the thing.
Look, you could get more views on a Logan Paul video in one day than you can for a late night show on TV, but they're vying for those clips to go viral. Too. That's more of the game. They're vying for those clips to go viral.
We're still having it live on TV for whatever reason, but, like, literally all they're trying to do is get viral clips on YouTube.
Because people are hanging to appointment television, not even appointment television, just traditional linear television.
Yeah.
People are clinging to that idea because there's like this mindset that it's still viable, it's still and it is to a degree. Yeah. It's just not the powerhouse that it was.
And Conan, I mean, he's going to HBO Max, so it's more of a streaming environment. Like we'll see what happens there. I really just do think I think that there's going to be a shakeup in this late night world because Conan's out. And granted, obviously, late night people leave. That's what happens. Like, that's how Conan, was it Carson left? And then I don't have my timelines in order, but
who took over for, I know it was Craig. Who took over for Craig?
Someone. James Corden, I think he took his.
Okay.
But so basically all I'm saying is, like, I know that this happens, but I think that we're in such a pivotal time. I think we're at such a pivotal time in TV, streaming, comedy, and I just wonder if the late night, like honestly, I bet Corden, Kimmel, who am I missing? Like, I bet late night they still put on awesome shows. Fallon, like, they're hilarious people. They're talented. Letterman. I said Carson. I meant Letterman. But there's just insanely talented people, and I wonder if they're going to start following suit with Conan and trying to figure out a career outside of that. But hey, look, it's working for him still. apparently. Like, they're still on air.
They're still doing very well. They're still doing very well for themselves. People still go to every show. It's almost becoming more of a niche, like you go to the show. You know,
okay.
You go to the show for the entertainment kind of thing. Millions of people still watch it. Millions of people still like the clips. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
But I think that it could be, there's that 1 minute talk show on podcast. Shout out those guys.
I was just going to say, yeah, like honestly, I could
like,
see that. I could see it transitioning to strictly social media. Like,
yeah,
I think that's probably what, and obviously we're just thinking of like people our age, you know, I don't think,
we have the shortest attention span possible.
That's what I'm talking
it's
about.
like,
I think attention spans are going way down.
Even if you're watching like a Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, like people are still like this. They're still like,
yeah.
You know,
for those listening,
down.
When he was on his phone, by the way,
I was on my phone for 2 seconds and looking up and down. Yeah, it was a very
good
interactive
radio.
kind of
Good
thing.
Radio.
Yeah, it was exactly. That's what they pay me the big bucks for.
Oh yeah,
yeah, sir.
I just think I think it's gonna be interesting seeing the ramifications of Conan leaving. Also, it was nice seeing everyone.
It's the first.
I thought it was kind of odd that Jack Black was the last guest, but that was just
why
me
he's
personally.
awesome.
I don't know. I actually love Jack Black, and I thought that it proved why he should have been the last guest, but he was doing his crazy stuff even when he was injured or whatever.
He's a great talk show guest.
He really is. I know. I love Jack Black. I was just kind of surprised.
Yeah, I think you'd probably think he'd bring out because look, he does. It's not his last guest per se. It's his last guest on TV. A few weeks ago, he had Obama on his podcast.
Yeah,
he really could give a shit who's on his show.
Mark Maron had Obama on his podcast. Obama's
just
around.
Doing the tour. Obama's just like, I'll talk to anybody at this point.
Well, he has that podcast with freaking
Obama. What do you think? Comedy.
No, oh God, Mark Norman talking to Obama would be fantastic.
Obama, welcome. Nice to see you. I was on my moped today. Comedy. He's like, what are you?
Hey, Obama, did you know I'm gay?
What is the deal with this guy?
Oh, all right. Actually, that wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad, and I know it's not bad.
That was pretty good. I think that I think the wheels are off here. I think we had a pretty healthy discussion about the future of late night.
Yeah.
First domino to fall, I think, is our stance. Hey, I think this was a fun episode, though. It was different.
Yeah.
Again, we have Palm Springs coming at you next week. It's going to be a good one. The 1 year anniversary. It's probably going to bring us back to some weird times mentally.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I
don't know if I buy into that whole thing.
I was
bet people are going to be like,
last
could you
year.
imagine, or do you remember what happened this time last year? No, we're not doing that.
Remember Tiger King?
No, we're talking about a fantastic movie. It's going to be upbeat. It's going to be awesome. We're looking forward to it. Until then, I'm Kevin.
I'm Winnie, and it's Turbo
See you in
time.
the next episode. It is Turbo time.
You can't run. Walk.